It was you who broke the news in the English language of the 1,000-person sexual assault in Cologne, Germany on New Year's Eve. Tell us how you did that. How did you find the news that the rest of the media was suppressing?
Well, half of my job every day is scanning all of the European local newspapers, the small places that other media groups wouldn't necessarily look to think, local blogs, local interest, and that means we can get those sorts of stories days before the national news media, if they decide to cover them at all. In fact, by the time we got the news of Cologne at Breitbart London, it was already some days after the fact. Now, the German news media knew about it, but they decided not to report on it. So we broke that story in English, and as you know, it then went global.
Yeah, I mean, that was what was so incredible there. I mean, it's one thing to miss a story, but it's another thing to deliberately cover up a story. When you have 1,000, the facts are, there are now more than 1,000 German women who have complained of being raped, and of course, more than 1,000 suspects. You cannot have a story of that magnitude in a city like Cologne without many thousands of people knowing about it, in the media and police included. They deliberately chose to lie, including the police department, that put out a false press release the next day saying the evening was uneventful and relaxed. Let me ask you a key question, Oliver. It's one thing for the media to ignore the story. How big a problem is actual disinformation and censorship when Google or Facebook or YouTube literally black out or censor stories that are politically incorrect?
Well, we know all about what Facebook is doing now to censor stories in Germany, at least. I think exactly what's going on in the rest of the world is yet to be seen. But I think an important story we're seeing this week, which I broke in the English language media yesterday, is of Dr. Wolfgang Helles, who is a former station chief with the German Süddeutsche Fernsehen, ZDF, which is kind of like the CBC or the BBC. And he admitted on live air that German news media, especially the mainstream media that's actually owned by the German state, was taking orders directly from the German government, not just on how to report stories, but actually what stories to report or what to ignore. His comments, I think, are very well timed, actually, and he now has the liberty to make them as a retired member of staff. But this is coming just 3 weeks after the same station, ZDF, was forced to make a grovelling apology to the German people for completely ignoring the Cologne rape story.